So we go from the Chiefs to the Giants. Now, I root for two teams. I root for the Giants because they drafted me, and I root for the Dolphins.
Yes, you do.
Because I grew up a Miami Dolphins fan, and I used to watch them year after year go up to Buffalo and just get handed an L from Jim Kelly and the K-Gun offense, and Dan Marino would get sent home for another offseason. Well, just when you thought it couldn't get worse, it did, because I don't think many people thought they were an underdog to the Browns. The Browns were the favorite in that game. But my goodness, that was the worst performance, maybe not only from the Dolphins. I mean, the Raiders might have a say in this because they just got shut out ugly. Yes, but that was the Chiefs. Yes. This is the Browns we're talking about, with a rookie quarterback in their own and Dylan Gabriel that completely dominated the Dolphins. And this one visually, to me, was startling. To see the lack of effort, to see the lack of interest, to see the lack of care with the football, as Tua's chucking interception after interception, ambulance ball after ambulance ball, almost getting his guys killed. It was gross, and I am genuinely shocked that the Dolphins still have not made a change at head coach, because we've talked about this for a few weeks now. Oh, I think it could come. I think it could come this Monday, and it still hasn't happened. It's just beyond belief.
So what changes? Let me ask you this, right? So now we're in a crazy spot where both of these guys who had a great marriage when they first started, we saw Brian Flores leave, right? Tua sort of seemed like he fell back into his old ways, which this is good.
Yep.
He's being empowered by Mike McDaniels. And now we're at the point where every week it's going to be a battle of who's going to dog out who on the mic first, right?
Yep.
Now I think it's a case of his side, her side, and the truth, right? We're at there somewhere now. It makes you think, did Brian Flores have something when he was talking the first time? Is Tua a little mentally
he's definitely mentally fragile.
So what's up? But let me ask you this. So they make the change right now.
Yep.
What changes?
You wake the bleep up. That's what happens, because I think these players are way too comfortable. I don't think they respect Mike McDaniel. I think they look at it, and I've been on some of these teams.
Okay.
When you are done with that game, you are, where's my paycheck?
Sure, of course.
Where's my paycheck? All right, I'm ready to go. Well, guess what? If you fire your head coach, or if you bench Tua, which I think also would be a great suggestion, he has been 1 touchdown, 6 interceptions his last game. You need to send Tua a message of urgency to the Miami Dolphins players that the status quo is unacceptable. But clearly, it kind of is, because they haven't made any changes. They haven't benched Tua. You haven't fired Mike McDaniel. So guess what you're going to get? Those results on the field. So if you're Stephen Ross and you're the owner, I hope you enjoy that, because it ain't turning around until you do something drastic. Now, maybe they're looking at it like, well, who would call the plays? Who's going to be the interim coach? Who's hiring the next coach? What does it mean for Tua's future if we bench him? All those things, but those are the wrong things to be thinking about if you're talking about trying to turn around a season.
And I think that's exactly, that's where I think I would be, as much as I hate to admit it. If I'm a businessman like Stephen Ross and I'm saying this is a lost season, Tua's a lost cause. We don't believe in him. We don't believe in our coach. I might be in draft mode already. Like, you're going to do what? What are you going to do? You're going to bring in, is it Zach Wilson? Is that their backup right now?
No. So Quinn Ewers actually won the backup job before Zach. Cleveland. And so Tua did get benched at the end of that game. Yeah. Quinn Ewers came in for a few plays. I think they should go to him. I liked him out of college.
Me too.
I thought he shined. I went down to training camp, watched him practice. I thought he outplayed Zach Wilson. And maybe you luck into, I don't want to say Tom Brady, but a Brock Purdy. Maybe I hate putting anybody in that Tom Brady stratosphere, but Brock Purdy was undrafted. Quinn Ewers was a 7th-round pick, but I bet he'll be more careful with the football than Tua is. And then at least going forward what you've got in a young player like a Quinn Ewers. So maybe that gives you a little bit of hope for the franchise, or you can make a better plan, because I don't think Tua is a part of the Dolphins' future. I don't think Mike McDaniel is. I don't think Chris Greer is. I think they need to burn the whole thing down.
And I agree with that. I think anytime you're one hit away from, are you ever going to play again, right? That's where Tua really is right now, right? One concussion, it sucks to say, but and you have to look at your future that way. I think the situation Brock Purdy came into was a bit different because of the foundation that was there, right? I mean, handing the ball off to CMC and throwing it off to George Kittle on one side, and then you got Ayuk, and at the time they had Debo, so it's
all over.
It makes it much easier to kind of slide in there. You almost think, do you kill Quinn Ewers if you bring him in and he goes 0-7? He's got nobody to throw the football to, and he's getting smacked around every week. So, yeah, I guess depending on what I think of Quinn Ewers, maybe I make that move, but yeah, I think right now it's just, I think they got to be they're in cruise control, get through the last 10 weeks of the season. What are they going to do?
Right. They're planning trips to Cabo is what they're doing.
Anyone think they're going to
let's hear that. Let's hear some of the sound. Take your pick, Mike McDaniel or Tua. Let's go, because they have been having this war of words. Here's Mike McDaniel after the game discussing Tua.
There's a lot of guys that will have an important work week because we're not I mean, if you are negatively affecting the football team routinely, I don't have a choice but to, assess a different player, and we're going to find out who and what we're made of.
That is pretty square on Tua. Now, Tua had this to say.
Yeah, he's going to take the snaps this week, and he's going to be a starter this week. And my expectation is that we don't throw 10 picks.
Oh, gosh.
I mean, so that was obviously not Tua. That was Mike McDaniel. And here's the thing. Mike McDaniel thinks it's funny. And when he's hired, all those quirky quotes and funny quotes, they get a laugh out of the media. And everybody's like, oh, he'd be fun to play for. When you make that comment in that situation with your job on the line, with Tua's job on the line, and you make a flippant joke about throwing 10 picks when he's thrown 6 in the last 2 games, I can't imagine how that go over.
Well, that's what we talked about with Baker last week, right? When you winning, everything is fine. Everything's cool when you're winning, right? But the Tua thing is alarming too, because he came out with he said a quote about an hour ago.
I think this might be it.
If we have it, we'll run it. It's about Jalen Waddle. Is this the one, Malik? All right, let's do it.
Yeah, I think with that, some of it has to do with being able to see guys, with their guys also up front and our guys. And I'm not the tallest guy in the back there either. So being able to see, and then, sometimes when that happens, you don't want to just throw it blindly.
And I'll tell you what, that's so alarming to me, because we talked about Jackson Dart and his cockiness, but how his ability to believe he can do anything kind of permeates the locker room. That's the second time in like 4 weeks we've heard Tua kind of demean himself.
Yes.
Remember when he talked a couple of weeks ago saying, I don't know how Josh Allen does it. He's out there. He's almost like in awe of Josh Allen. I can't do the things he does. Like, you should never say that. I don't even care if it's a lie. You need to instill confidence and belief in your players that you believe you can do anything. In 2 weeks, he's told me he's too short to hit his number one receiver, and he's not the runner that Josh Allen is. Like, I don't need to hear that from you.
That's a rough quote for all the short kings out there trying to play quarterback. You know who's not that tall? Baker Mayfield.
No, he's not. Drew Brees wasn't that
Drew
big.
Brees wasn't tall, and I actually love it, because it used to be you had to be 6'4" to get drafted.
Sure.
Now at least we've opened up our eyes and realized, you know what happens when you're 6'4"? You don't see over 6'7" and 6'8" tackles. Nobody sees over a line. That's the biggest myth and misperception about playing quarterback that's out there. You have to slide, you have to find windows where you can see passing, throwing lanes. But to Tua's thing, there are a lot of balls you have to throw when you can't see where you're throwing. You throw to an area. You throw to a concept. You throw a guy open. We hear that all the time. So you've got to have such a good grasp of the system and where your guy's going to be, and most importantly, what the defense is doing, that all right, that defender will not be there because this is the look I'm getting. So I can trust this throw. I think this is reminiscent to when Sam Darnold was mic'd up on Monday Night Football and he said, I'm seeing ghosts.
Yeah, it's a tough one.
That's what Tua is going through right now. And he's basically sharing that with you, which I can appreciate your honesty, but is not doing anything to help your cause. He is seeing ghosts. He is not seeing the field at all.
And then to kind of revisit another thing Tua said a couple of weeks ago when he kind of threw his team under the bus about guys not showing up and putting in the work, right? Well, what I hear from Tua right here is, and that goes exactly what you were saying, quarterback and wideout relationship. I'm not the biggest dude in the world, but you spend extra hours out there so that, like you said, it's anticipation. I think about the guy who got me an opportunity, and it's my story, but growing up, I watched Wayne Corbett, right? Small, little shifty slot. It was before it was the cool thing to do. And I remember listening to Vinny Testaverde talk about him. Testaverde would say, I could be running this way, and I just put the ball out there. I know where Wayne's going to be. And that comes from infinite amounts of time and reps and work together. And you just said it. Like, if you can't see Jalen Waddle, you throw the ball where Jalen Waddle's been 8,000 reps before, and you're safe. You know what I mean? That's what it needs to be, too. That you can't dog your guys for not putting work in one day and then talk about how you don't have a chemistry with your you don't know where your receiver's going to be.
Right. It's a mess. I mean, I feel like this is a recurring story. Like, it's just on loop how messed up the Miami Dolphins are. I don't think it gets any better. We'll see if Tua can salvage it. I wouldn't be surprised. I think they should play Quinn Ewers. I think they should make a change. And maybe Tua gets a rest. It kind of takes his mind off it. He can get his confidence back. But it is a complete mess there in Miami.